Welcome back. It's a beautiful evening and I am out and about doing some assessing, and I decided to do a couple of things. First of all, to show you the back part of my garden where we will be putting our melon patch, the one that we had last year. That's number one. And then also I wanted to show you some kale that has been growing all winter that I'm actually going to harvest. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my watermelon patch. Now, this is pre-treated. I'm just going to show you some of the work that needs to be done, and I'll also go through the process of how we grow watermelon in tires. Okay, so I'm going to switch this camera around and just show you a few things. Okay, so here it is. Now I know this looks like a hot mess, but believe it or not, it will be beautiful when it's all done. Sometimes it's just good to have before and after. So what you see here is a culmination of weeds. These are all weeds that I'll have to come in here and pull up. It's not really that difficult. We grew watermelon, we grew squash, and we grew watermelon and cantaloupe. So we call this our melon patch. And so I'll come in here, and what I'm doing is looking at the soil, just assessing it. And I don't have gloves. I don't mind touching the dirt and some leaves because I like to see the dirt. I like to feel it. And so I'm just feeling it. It's dark, it's rich, it looks good. I'll get in here and treat it a little bit, meaning I'll just put down some manure and some compost, and you can see hay. That's hay that we put in it last year because that holds in the moisture. So I'm just coming out here today because it's such a lovely evening, and I'm plotting my course. It's just starting to warm up. I'm not a cold weather person, so I stay in. And so I'm looking at this soil. You see that? It's rich, it's dark, it's moist. All I have to do is add some compost, manure, maybe some. My husband's out too. The children, they're cutting grass. I'll add some worm castings, compost, and yes, you can grow melons in tires. We did it for the first time. We actually grew, this is our back garden behind the house. Our primary garden is in the front. So we grew more watermelon both places. In the front, we grew it direct sow out of the ground. Here, we did it in tires just because we wanted to cut down on the weeds. I know it doesn't look like it, but trust me, when we were out here on a regular basis before the cold weather, we didn't have this big problem with weeds because we were out here and the melons were growing. So anyway, I'm just showing you what it looks like now. When you see it later, it's going to look amazing. I mean, amazing. We have trees also growing in pots and in tires, and that green that you see, that green rope is actually a hose. It's a sprinkler system that we've set up, and so it's all around, and it will water our melons for us. And we have a sprinkler system that we'll also put in the middle. So right now I'm going to take you to the other area because I'm going to actually harvest some kale. I'm always harping on the fact that you don't need a whole lot of space. Even if you have a balcony or a deck or a terrace, you can get yourself some containers like this and you can grow food. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm out here doing. I'm going to harvest. This grew all winter. Isn't that something? So I'm taking you down here. All of these are containers, and we grew kale, and it grew all during the winter. Okay, I am back. Got my stuff all set up, and I'm getting ready to harvest this kale. You see that? This is, what is today? April the 6th or something like that. And so this is kale that's been growing all winter long. I'm not going to cut all of it. I'm going to save the little pieces. Now, you know, kale shrivels up a lot, so it's going to take a whole lot to feed a family, but that's okay because I'd rather harvest them than they just continue to dry out. So that's what I'm doing. I'm actually harvesting kale. And I'm making a point with this because what some people don't know, if you're beginning, that kale, when you plant it, it comes back. Last year, we ate off of this same kale all fall. And the only reason we're able to do that is you don't ever just cut all of the plant. You try to cut the larger leaves, and then the nutrients that are going to the leaves that were going to those larger leaves, they will begin to go to the smaller leaves, and then you'll have a harvest again. And so either you cut the very outside or you find like the largest ones, and then I'll come back in about 2 weeks and these will be a little bigger. Now they grow bigger during the spring and the summer, but when it's really cold, they still grow. So I'm down here now. So this is kind of like baby kale, but it's still very, very tender. And I'm going to saute these up with some onions and maybe some peppers from last year's garden. And again, these grew all winter. I was able to come out at different times and cut some. Kale is great with scrambled eggs. So if you like scrambled eggs or you eat eggs, kale is a good accompaniment. Cut this up a little bit with some onions. And again, what I can't stress enough is the beauty of the fact that they come back time after time after time. And so you have a harvest of one seed that you can plant in a small container, and you can continue to eat and feed your family off of this kale. We grow a whole lot because, as you can see, these are small. Now we have ones that are bigger. This is just a variety, and like I said, they don't grow as large during the winter. Okay, sorry about that. I experienced some technical difficulties, and so I came back on because I just wanted to show you how much kale I harvested. This is almost a basket full of kale, and I actually got a little bit of collard in here too. This is the collard green. You see the difference, how it's kind of smooth, and where the kale is, it's wavy. The ends are smoother and the kale is wavy. So anyway, what I wanted to do is show you something. The reason why I wanted to get this kale, because if you wait too long, it will go to seed, which is not a bad thing if you need seeds. So this is what the kale looks like. You see that little bit of, I don't know what you call it, look like little nodules. Well, this is what regular kale looks like when it's growing, but when it grows and grows and you don't harvest it and you begin to leave it, it will eventually look like this. And then this will grow and it will turn into seeds. And so this is what you call the process of going to seed, meaning that instead of this turning into kale, they will be pretty little seeds, and we can come back, take them off and let them dry, and we can put them up for our next planting. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that because just in case you didn't know what kale seed looks like, again, this process is called going to seed, and lots of your leafy greens will do this. If you don't harvest them and just let them grow, they'll do this, and then eventually we can come out and grab these up and snip them, and we'll have little seeds. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, apologies for technical difficulty, but I did get most of my kale cut. I just have a little bit more. This is a kind of big leaf, so I'm just going to take this off too. I just wanted to make sure that I show you the process of going to seed. And so that's why, another reason why you leave some. And I've harvested, but all of these I left behind. And what'll happen is these will grow up, and I'll come back in about 2 or 3 weeks, and it'll be full again, and I'll grab some more. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you've learned something. Please like, share, and subscribe. Shalom.